Hi, today I'm going to draw a cozy witch or wizard-inspired room to spend time in, so we can build up from this boring, simple gray background to slowly but surely a cool, awesome cozy room as a background. And while doing so, I'll go ahead and teach you how to draw your own cozy rooms while using Clip Studio Paint. So stick with me for the full process and tutorial. Drawing a cozy room will require you to get some reference pictures to find different furniture designs and layouts that you like. So I'd recommend browsing different art locations from DeviantArt, Pinterest, or maybe even Twitter to get some inspiration for the style and vibe of room that you're going for. You can start making a few squares using the square tool in Clip Studio Paint and sketch inside of them. This square will simulate the rough ratio of our canvas, our paper, and then we'll start rough sketching some ideas and shapes of how we'd imagine our rooms to be, without worrying too much about getting the perspective right, since we will worry about that later. First, we want to let our creativity loose in the sketches, while also keeping in mind that there are a few things that make a room feel cozier, such as clutter. A healthy amount of clutter can make a room feel cozy and not dirty. Usually stir books, CDs, plushies, or pillows. Also, a small yet not suffocating space. Large spaces feel a bit less intimate, so having a nicely sized space like an attic, a bedroom, or even a tiny spaceship tend to work best. As I sketch out my different ideas on these quick thumbnails, I am also thinking about what sort of vibe I want to convey, and I can do that by playing with the time of day and weather in our room. So if you're interested in how to manipulate the weather and daytime easily, I'd also recommend checking out my other tutorial about painting weather. Now that we have our 4 different rough sketches, we can choose which one we like the most and develop that one. I personally liked sketch number 3 the most, so I'll copy it to a new layer and enlarge it to fit our entire canvas. Then I'll make a new layer and plan out some more precise version of the artwork. You don't have to be line art accurate, but keeping things clear will really go a long way. After I have a better idea of everything I want in the room, I will be making a new perspective ruler layer to make sure all of my lines are correct with the rules of perspective. Initially, I want to go for a 2-point perspective, however, I went with a 1-point perspective to make it slightly easier to draw a room. Go to the top left tab, under Layer, Ruler Frame, choose the Create Perspective Ruler option, and choose the 1-point perspective. After you've created your ruler, you'll notice it has a bunch of widgets and colored lines. And if you don't see any of these widgets, you might have to click this Operation tool prior and click one of the lines. These widgets are as follows. This central blue line is the horizon line, where your eyes look. The 2 purple lines are the guidelines for the perspective we'll use to draw, and they converge on the vanishing point in the middle that we can move. The circle with the arrows inside of it is used to move the entire ruler. The small circle next to it is used to move the widget without the ruler. The full small circles next to each line are used to tilt the ruler from the horizon line to the perspective guidelines. The diamond-shaped widget disables the snapping on that specific ruler. Then, after drawing imaginary lines from the existing lines in our sketch, I can determine where the vanishing point should be, and I'll move the ruler around to fit our scene. It's also important to make sure that you have snapping enabled for the rulers to work with your specific brush. The wrench icon on our brush window will open the subtool detail window, where the tab correction has the option for enable snapping that we need to have checked. After lowering the opacity of some of the previous layers, I'll go ahead and just make sure all of my lines are in proportion to the perspective ruler and fix what's needed. In my example, the dresser to our right was completely off. So I just redraw it using the ruler to fit our perspective ruler, and then I added some clutter and other objects to make it feel more lived. And I'll do the same with the rest of the room while utilizing our perspective guidelines to ensure everything fits our 1-point perspective. I even went ahead and used earlier sketches and artworks of mine and put them on the posters that I have added to the wall in the back to help populate the room. And you can do the same with your own artwork, be it sketches or full illustrations. Now I'll group all of our sketch layers into a single folder and click the Set as Reference layer icon so I can start painting on a layer below and add some base colors to our room. Keep in mind you'll have to make sure that your eraser has the Do Not Cross Lines of Reference layer option turned on so you can easily clean up any color spill. After I've added all of the base colors underneath the line art, I'll make a new layer above each one of the base colors and use a multiply layer to slightly shade the furniture, assuming the light will come from the windows. And I even used the filter tab, and under effects I chose artistic, reducing the number of colors of the posters in the room to make them more simplified so they won't take too much attention. And you can actually do the same with a stock photo if you don't have any particular sketch or artwork that you want to use to achieve the same sort of feeling. I also personally come for a painting background, so I like including an optional step, where after we establish some basic shading to our drawing, we will create a new normal layer above, and just pretty much paint over some of our drawing, especially blurring out some of the line art and creating some edges to our shelves. Then I tend to make a multiply layer and color fill the entire layer a dark blue with the fill tool, and then I lower the opacity to about 40%. Then erase the middle part with a soft eraser. This will allow me to create some sort of vignette effect, using a shadow in the edges and lighting everything in the middle. This vignette effect will really help boost the room's coziness, as it focuses everything in the middle, and it makes everything seem a bit smaller and tight-knit. Afterward, we need to make an overlay layer on top and use it to draw the cast shadows. The shadows will indicate where the light comes from and tends to be less sharp further from the light source. And then similarly, we can use an overlay or color dodge layer above to create some highlights in the scene. Of course, this will depend on what light sources you have in your drawing, but I recommend having fun with it and trying to keep the edges of the canvas darker so it keeps things a bit more cozy. After doing that, you can add whatever flourishes you want to your artwork, be it rain on your windows like me, or even adding some dust particles in the air on a new normal layer. Then I'll go ahead and in the layer tab under new correction layer, choose a gradient map and set its blending mode to color while also lowering its opacity to about 20 to 30%. And if you don't have many gradient maps to browse from, you can make your own gradient maps or download one from the Clip Studio assets like I did. After I find something I like, I close the gradient map window and adjust the opacity again to taste. Having a gradient map sit on top will help us unify the colors and go for a various of different vibes. We can also choose other adjustment layers like levels or color balance to further fine-tune our drawing. But keep in mind that what I find cozy might differ from what you find cozy, so do whatever you find most pleasing to you, and I hope you find this tutorial helpful. If you have any questions or want to share your own artwork, I would love to see it in the comments below, and you can just tweet at @𝐂𝐨𝐳𝐲 to show me your artworks. Thank you for watching, and bye!